As a beginner, we must understand basic database development concepts. Only then we can create databases and tables effectively. Hi, my name is Pradnyankur Nikam. I am a freelance web developer and Udemy instructor. In this video tutorial, we will understand how to create database in MySQL and how to create table in MySQL. Let's get started. In order to follow along with this tutorial, you should have MySQL installed on your computer. I assume you already have MySQL installed and logged into MySQL user account. If you don't have MySQL, check out my previous MySQL installation videos on my channel PnTutorials. Alright, let's start with the first topic. How to create database in MySQL. Before we practically execute some example statements, let me quickly show you 4 important SQL statements related to databases. The first SQL statement is show databases semicolon. This statement lists all databases on our MySQL database server. The second statement is create database name. This statement creates a new database in our MySQL database server. We should replace database name with the actual name we want to give to our new database. Third statement is use database name. In MySQL, when we start a new session, we must select the database. Once the database is selected, we can store, update and retrieve data from the selected database. And the last statement is drop database name. You might have guessed it, it drops or deletes a database. Here, we should replace database name with the actual database name we want to delete. Here I have logged into my MySQL database server. I will display a list of databases in my MySQL server using show databases semicolon, press enter, and there are 4 default databases which store system information. Now I will create a new database named PnTutorials. The SQL statement will be create database and name of the database. In my case, I'm gonna use PnTutorials semicolon, press enter, and if I list databases again, hit upper arrow key to display previously executed commands. Show databases, press enter, and this time I have a new database named PnTutorials. Now the question is, can we give any name to our database? No, there are some rules for identifiers or names. The first rule is the permitted characters contains the basic Latin letters capital A to Z, small a to Z, digits 0 to 9, dollar symbol and an underscore symbol. There should be no space or other symbols than dollar and underscore. And also, the name can begin with a number, but it must contain other characters, not only numbers. Let me try with some invalid names. Now I will create a database name 1234. Create database 1234 semicolon, press enter, and it won't work because I have started with a number and the name only contains numbers. But if I name it like create database 1234a semicolon, press enter, and it was successful. Similarly, if I create a database name create database and my name Pradnyankur space Nikam semicolon, press enter, and it won't work because it contains a space between the two characters. But if I create a database name like create database Pradnyankur underscore Nikam, press enter, and it was successful. We can confirm it using show databases semicolon, press enter, and we can see the list of newly created databases. The best practice is to be consistent with identifiers or names while using MySQL Server. I would recommend you to use only lowercase letters and underscore to separate two or more words. Now let's quickly delete these test databases, and the SQL statement would be drop database 1234A semicolon, press enter. If I check the database list again, the database is gone. Similarly, I will remove the Pradnyankur Nikam database, drop database Pradnyankur underscore Nikam semicolon, press enter, and confirm the delete with show databases. And sure enough, the Pradnyankur Nikam database is also gone. Now let's go to the next topic. Before we move ahead, let me quickly promote my SQL course. If you want to learn all important SQL statements, then check out my 11 hours SQL course on Udemy. Just like databases, for MySQL tables, let me show you 4 important SQL statements. The first SQL statement is show tables. This statement will list all the tables inside the selected database. The second SQL statement is create table, and as you might have guessed it, it creates a table. Create table, replace the table name with the actual name we want to give to our new table, the opening parenthesis, and inside parenthesis the columns and their data types. We can also assign some optional special constraints to each column. We will learn about MySQL data types and constraints in a separate tutorial. For now, just keep in mind that we need to give the column name and its data type. If we have multiple columns in the table, we separate them with a comma. And finally, complete parenthesis and a semicolon to end the statement. The third SQL statement, describe table name, semicolon, is used to show information about a particular table. And finally, drop table name statement drops or deletes a table. Let's quickly execute some example SQL statements. I have once again logged into my MySQL database server. As I told you, before working in a particular database, we must select it. So in our case, I will select the example database using use PnTutorials, press enter, and you can see the message database changed. It means this database has been selected. Now I will list all the tables under PnTutorials database using show tables semicolon, press enter, and at this moment we don't have any tables in our database, so we see this empty message. Let's create a new table using SQL statement create table students. Here students is the name of the table we are going to create. Opening parenthesis, we can write the column definition on the same line, but to display it properly, I will hit enter and write column definition on the next line. In the students table, we will have our first column name, that would be ID. The ID column will store the student numbers, and as ID will store only numbers, we will write the data type as int, which is a short form of integer. I will enter a comma and press enter to add a second column definition. The next column would be first underscore name, and it will have a data type as varchar inside parenthesis 40. It means it will store string characters and the maximum characters it can store is 40. Semicolon, press enter. Similarly, I will create another column named last underscore name, and this column also will store string values with a 40 character max limit. So I will once again type data type varchar 40 semicolon, press enter. The next column is class, and it would also store string values but only 20 characters long. So this time I will write varchar inside parenthesis 20 semicolon, press enter. And finally an age column which would store the age of a student, and as the age is a number, we will make it as integer that would store maximum 3 digits. Since this is the last column definition, I won't add a comma here, press enter. And on the next line, closing parenthesis and semicolon to end the statement, press enter. And we created a new table. I will display all tables inside PnTutorials database using show tables semicolon, press enter. And this time we have students table. We can get table information using describe statement like describe students, press enter. And we can see the column names and their data types. We haven't defined the optional constraints, so we see blank here. Now let's delete the table using drop statement. The SQL statement will be drop table students semicolon, press enter. And if we list the tables, show tables semicolon, press enter. And this time our students table is gone. In this video tutorial, we clear our doubts about two topics: how to create database in MySQL and how to create table in MySQL. I hope you understood the explanation with examples. Now try your own examples on your computer and let me know if you encounter any issue. I will do my best to respond to your queries ASAP. Subscribe to my channel and like and share this video tutorial. Thanks for watching. See you in the next tutorial.